All right, what is this thing? All right. Okay. All right, let me introduce you. This is my maestro. This is Mr. Q, Abran Quevedo. And he...
Ricochet.
And this is Ricochet, which is super important. Okay. And he taught me about electric cars. This is an electric car with the plug. And he taught me the electric cars back in 2009. No, 2008. 2008, I took a class with Mr. Q on how to convert a car from gasoline to electric. I have plenty of information about this, but today I want you to meet the man, the myth, the legend. He's taught many people, and he had his own shop, and he had he was a public school auto shop teacher as well. But I want you to hear from him where he got started. So Q, okay, how did you get started?
Okay, how I got started was I was teaching auto shop up north, a little town called Ensenada, and it was time for me to order a new book, a new auto mechanic book for my students. So, and at the same time, I was finding out that the electric car conversion thing was kind of happening all over the country.
What year is this?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Let's see. I had to be close to 20 years ago.
Wow.
It was close to 20 years ago. This is way before Tesla Motors, way before any of the electric cars. So I went to my principal and I asked him.
Well, wait.
Yes.
But in California, smog and pollution was a problem.
Oh, absolutely. What happened was I had a mural painted in my auto shop.
Oh.
I don't know if you ever saw that.
Yeah, Puff the Mechanical Dragon.
Right.
Yeah, the combustion.
Puff the Mechanical Dragon.
I'll show that, yeah.
I started with that. We were going to have an art show for the school. The different teachers could put up something. So I got my students together, and I said, let's paint Puff the Mechanical Dragon.
Right.
And basically, it's a dragon with 4 pistons incorporated into it, showing the intake, compression, power, and exhaust strokes.
Right. And my students know that. It's basically the 4-stroke process: intake, compression, combustion, exhaust. But it pulls in hydrocarbons, which comes from plant life, and it puts out carbon dioxide, which is no good for us to breathe and also contributes to global warming. So he made a beautiful mural about the process, good or bad. It shows you what happens.
Well, at the end of the mural, the tail end of the mural, after intake, compression, power, and exhaust, you had exhaust coming out the tail end of the mural.
Right.
And inside the exhaust was Jack and Jill.
Right, okay.
But Jack and Jill were skeletons.
The fairy tale.
Jack is carrying a pail of water, and Jill has doilies on her head, but the point being that they're no longer here.
Yeah.
They're gone because of smog.
Right.
Smog created by the internal combustion engine.
Yeah.
The intake, compression, power, and exhaust.
Right.
So, and at the same time, we're in California here. We live in San Diego, but at the same time, there's a lot of smog created in the LA area. In fact, I had a brother that lived there with his children. Had to move back to the San Joaquin Valley because they were suffering from the smog.
Right.
So he had to leave his job and go back to the valley. At any rate, the smog created in LA would go, because of the way the climate works here, the breezes, out into the ocean. Then it'd come down south, and then right here in San Diego, it'd come back in.
Wow, really?
So we get, you could look out in the ocean and you could see it.
Really?
You could see the smog.
Wow. See, I didn't know that. I'm from New Jersey, but I don't. You hear about LA smog, but he lived through it. That's where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Right now, you look out and it's fairly clean. But we could look out and just see brown haze
Wow.
from
No.
L.A.
Wow.
And then would come over here, and they would come right in with
Wow.
the ocean breeze right through here
No kidding.
to San Diego.
Wow.
So all of that was happening, and I could see that we need to make a change to start introducing people to something different.
Yeah.
Not only I, but also Ford came out with an electric car, and General Motors came out with a car that they crushed.
Yes. That's
know,
if anybody ever saw, did you ever see Who Killed the Electric Car?
Yeah.
Right? And that movie is about the EV1, which was a very high-tech vehicle.
Oh man, it was a beautiful
It
car.
was beautiful. Yeah, it was a good car, and people loved it. And then they leased it. GM leased it to people, and the moment they had to comply with a law, it's called a compliance car. And the moment they overturned the law using lawyers and whatnot, they then collected all the cars and crushed them, which was pretty aggressive for a company to do. So, but while all that's happening, Mr. Q is not the only one, but people were working on this. But unique to Mr. Q was, I think, the class.
Right. I opened a class to teach people how to make their gas cars into electric cars.
Right.
And the interesting thing is we got applications from all over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got people who came down from Canada. You came all the way from New York.
Yeah.
I had people from Mexico,
Wow.
Texas. Where else? The northern part of this country, up like the New York area.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's you, but
Yeah.
more in this direction. But basically, Canadians, folks from all over. A lot of them were teachers. A lot
Right.
of them were just individual. And so I held
Do you know how I found you?
how?
Okay. It's ironic because this is YouTube. I found you on YouTube.
Yeah.
The first year that YouTube came out, I think it was 2006, and you had a white car that you converted.
Yeah.
And you drove it, and I was like, oh my God. And it was funny because I wanted to do electric cars because I knew that was the future. I knew it was more powerful. I knew that it was just the battery technology holding it back, but the motor was very powerful and it was clean. And a friend of mine said, why don't you type in electric car class? And I thought, no way.
Yeah.
There's no way. I type it in, and there's Mr. Q driving the car with his crazy hair, and I thought, oh my God, I gotta go see this guy. So I found out I could take the class. You had a whole website and everything, and it was called the Kick Gas Car Club. And it was and the class was called Electric Conversion for Teachers or something like that. Yeah. And but I couldn't take it in 07 because I couldn't find the class for some reason, but there was an 08, so I had to wait 2 years. But then I took the class in 08, and we learned. We converted a car in 10 days. We converted a car. It was amazing. Yeah.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
10 days.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, so that's what happened. And when I was teaching, started out with auto shop, but basically I converted the class to teach kids how to make electric cars.
Oh, so that when you went to order now going back, that was a class like on a separate thing, but you also were teaching auto shop.
Yeah.
And that's when you, instead of buying the books for an outrageous amount,
Right.
you decided, well, to throw away the book because the book doesn't matter anymore.
Not the money. We use,
Right.
we use the money to convert a
Throw
car.
away the book, not the money.
First one.
I like that. This is
I
funny.
used the money to buy the electric components from I think his name was Mike Brown or
Oh yeah, Mike Brown.
Mike Brown.
Oh yeah.
He
Okay.
started converting cars. He's kind of
Yeah.
my first person that I heard of. Back in the early 70s, we had a gasoline crisis here in this country, which was kind of a made-up crisis. Countries with the oil, countries in what's it called, up in northern part of Africa.
Uh-huh.
Uh, the oil OPEC.
Yeah, OPEC.
OPEC countries
Yeah.
decided to put the crunch on oil coming to this country, and from oil came gasoline, of course.
Right.
So in the early 70s, 72, 73, there was a gas shortage in the United States.
Right.
And people were lining up at gas stations just to be able to buy
Now,
2 or 3 gallons of gas.
when I was young, my dad told me about this. But it's hard to understand as a kid. But now as an adult, the only time I ever experienced that was when we had Hurricane Sandy in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And it knocked out all the power for like a week. And we had the power is what pumps the gasoline up out of the tanks, and so you couldn't get any gasoline. So if you found a gasoline station open, they had to have cops making the line. And I got online at 4 in the morning. I still had to wait 3 hours, and the line was down the block. And I tell you what, you weren't sure if you were going to get another tank. That was going to be it. Eventually the power went back on, but it's a serious thing. When you don't have gasoline, all of a sudden, the power to get to work, the power to drive yourself, to get groceries, and not just you, how do they get the groceries there? How do they get all the stuff in? All that stuff. When someone takes your transportation away very quickly, not over time, very quickly, it's dangerous for the economy. It's a state of crisis. It changes your whole life in a day, It
was during this time that Mike Brown came up with the idea of building electric cars. So he built his first electric car, and then he wrote a book, manual.
Yeah.
I think you have a copy of that. Mm-hmm. And he also started teaching classes during the 2-week periods for teachers, whoever wanted to take it.
Right.
So I got a hold of the book, and one of his students, we made contact, and I said, "Hey, I want to convert a car. I've got money from my school, my budget from my auto shop class, and permission to use that to build an electric car." So I'm contacted Mike Brown, and I said, "Hey, put the battery, all this, the batteries, the motor, everything I need. Here's the money.
Right.
And I'll come pick it up."
Yeah.
And so he did. I picked up a car, little Volkswagen, like the one that you
Oh, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
one just like that.
Nice.
I picked it up, pulled the engine out, and drove it to my friend in Turlock, California,
Okay.
where we had a 2-week workshop. We had a couple of people from San Francisco, Sacramento, about 6 people altogether, and I had all the equipment to convert the car, and we converted the first car in a 2-week period.
Wow.
It was funny. I took the car there to the DMV after it was converted,
Yeah.
to have it get a special certificate. Because
Right.
here in California, if you have, and this was just brand new information,
Right.
but if you have an electric car, you didn't have to pay the registration fee,
Oh, okay.
but you had to register it at first.
Right.
So I took it to the DMV, and I said, "Hey, I want to register this car, but it's electric, so I won't have to pay any fees."
So what'd they say?
Well, before you know it, this is Modesto, California, or Madera, little town. Before you know it, the guy I'm talking to gets all the other people that are in the DMV office. Come see this car. So they looked at it, and it was one of the first cars to be able to get this certificate registered in my name, but I would never have to pay the yearly fee because it didn't pollute.
Nice.
Okay. So all the people there in the DMV had never seen a car like this.
Wow.
But a supervisor came in, and he was a little bit aware of the fact that it's electric.
Yeah.
So this is happening way before Tesla Motors came out with a car.
Right.
And so anyway, I then became got in contact with people here in San Diego that were actually kind of a loose organization of people kind of converting their own cars.
Oh, really?
And so I got together with them. We had monthly meetings. They're still going on. They're
Oh,
still
okay.
meeting.
Yeah.
You know some of the guys in
The
that.
Kick Gas Club?
Yeah, no, Electric Vehicle Association.
Oh, okay.
They're San
Okay.
Diego.
Oh,
So then I
right,
found
right,
out
right.
that they're connected to other. There's the EV newspaper that
Oh,
come
okay.
out once a year.
That's this
And
right
I
here.
just talked with. I just spoke with one of the old members about getting me copies of all those EVs,
Oh, yeah.
electric vehicle newsletters.
Oh, that would be good.
And he contacted, he said he could get them for me. So these newsletters every month would feature one or two guys that were converting cars
Oh, yeah.
all over the country.
Right.
Kind of an interview with them.
Yep.
But then since that time, that publication has been basically taken over by Tesla and a bunch
They
of the
report
other,
on the new cars now.
commercial cars that
Yeah.
are coming out.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's ever any articles in there about guys that are still converting. By the
Right.
way, that's still happening here in San Diego. We still have electric car organization and a little location, and we're still converting cars. That's basically where
We're
it's
probably
at
gonna.
right
I'm
now.
probably gonna go visit. There's some boutique shops too. EV West, they do high performance, but learning how to do the conversion and working at your own pace, that's part of the Kick Gas Club.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that was your vision. Did you start that?
yeah.
So he started a club, not just putting on seminars, but he started a club where they rented a space, and it was like a nonprofit, right? And what they did was they would teach people the basics. Now that's probably the most important part, because you could always get more advanced, but the basics is where it's at. The adapter plate, where to put the batteries, the cages, the coupler, the motor mounts, where to buy the motors from, how to manage the batteries, what type of controller, you know. So this, you know, you can get advanced, but the basics was important.
Yeah, I had a little bit to do with that.
Yeah, he's the one. He's the one. Yeah, he did it. So, cool. Okay. So, and you still have a car that you're driving around now. We took a ride in it before. It's electric. And so, but it's like a tree. Like all these people who took the class, they stayed in touch. So, some of the people went to work for EV West. Some of the people, like me, I did a conversion back in my school. Tony Santana, he works in Santee. He's done some electric car stuff. Tomas does it back in Chile.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom, I think Miriante, or no, not Miriante. I forget his last name. Tom was an electrician. He does some stuff. And then there's Wister Rhodes of KTA. He started his own conversion supply company, so you could buy the parts. There's so many people. He has, you know, spread the message and what's possible. I thank you.
Well,
And it was reasonably priced. All the classes were totally reasonable. And it was a lot of fun coming here to San Diego. I've come out every year since then, you know, to stay in touch. But I appreciate everything you did.
hey, people like myself and Mike Brown, we've been involved in this particular part of our life, but we also, just like prior people in all different kinds of disciplines, we fade away. We fade away. And I'm thankful to Ron here to help. I'm thankful because he's going to carry on. You know, we come and we go, but what we're doing or what we've done continues. That's where he's coming from. That's where I'm coming from in terms of him. And students that he's teaching, people that he's involved with that are also learning this and carrying on so that it will continue. But the old guys like me, Mike Brown, and many others, we just fade away. That's okay. That's okay. But what we did do or got involved with continues.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thanks, Mr. Q, for doing that. And that's why I wanted to have this interview, because I want you to know that there's. I had a teacher, and now I'm teaching people, and that's kind of how it goes. And of course, you could buy an electric car now, but I think the idea is that if you are trying to solve a problem, you can find a way to do a simple solution, and you can teach young generation coming up. Right? Is that the kind of the message?
That's right.
Yeah.
And don't forget, EV.
Nice.
Electric vehicles.
Nice. All right. I'm Mr. G. This is Mr. Q. Thanks for watching. We're gonna have more videos of his car and also of the workshop that currently is going on. We might even go to EV West this trip. It's 2018. See you later. Okay.
All right.